Welcome back to Skyrocket Automotive. Today we're going to get on with the welding for Alvin's MOT. Hopefully after that it should just be a simple carb tune-up and then we can go home, and I'm going to really miss him. This was the second project I ever took on. It's been a long old journey, but we're nearly there. So join us. Right, Alvin. Ow! Step one is to put the old boy on charge, because I'm pretty sure his battery's feeling poorly. Okay, he's been boiling away for like a coffee and a half, something in the region of that. He's always been a good starter, but I think he might just want a little bit of help, because for some reason they used a thimble for a float bowl on these carburetors. Do you see what I mean about the starting side of things? Right, we just need to get fuel to him, really. Listen to that A-Series sing. How can you not have a soft spot for a car that ready, willing and able? Today's the day, fella. Let's go. At some point in the past, somebody's repaired this area here for an MOT, and then instead of riveting the skirts back on, they screwed them on, and it stripped all the paint away and then found the Lord, shall we say. So, this side we've got some patches to put in. The other side hasn't been disturbed yet, so I think we're all right on that front. And then we've got two small holes apparently in the floor pan, just inboard of the sills. Yeah, I mean we've got some previous going on here, look, so it's not like it's a virgin welding project. In fact, it may well have been the previous repair that's rusted. We will know more in a moment when I get under the car. I'm actually more concerned about the stuff I found going after the MOT rust. So here's our MOT mark here that Steve very kindly put out for us so that we could see where the corrosion is, and sure enough, we've gone there. This is all right. And there's our problem. All right. So it appears to be where the wing comes down and meets the sill. That's fine. That is very much doable, and it's no surprise really when you pull stuff like that out of there. Let's go around the other side and see what we can see there. Okay, let's see what Steve left for us under here. All right, yep, sure enough, the same spot. Now, this side's a little bit more emotional, so we're gonna have to whip this sill cover off, see what's hiding out under there. I'm seeing filler, so it's entirely possible that the bog caused this. He's up to temperature. Just what a sweet little car. These are held on with rivets and they're hidden under this rubber strip. You just work your way along. There's one there. Come on. One. Someone's already broke this. That's great. I hate the way someone's just rudely blasted that rivet through that plastic trim. What a shame. Because you can just pick these up anywhere. AllegroSource.com for all your Allegro needs. So, between you, me, the fence post, the neighbour's dog, the neighbours, 7 or 8 of their friends, a couple of their distant relatives, and another neighbour, that's quite bad. Wow, Alvin. For anybody who doesn't know, this car languished at multiple garages who undertook the work, then just didn't bother doing anything with the vehicle. One of the only things one of those previous garages did was check the underside of the car for corrosion, and they said it was fine. So naturally, I didn't go looking for corrosion because that's already been looked for, and my job was recommission the car, get it off for MOT. What can I say? You poor bugger, Alvin. Well, time to, basically. That was most unpleasant. What have we got inside? I am glad we did that because, well spotted, Steve. Good, at least we've got lots of insulation and wiring that can combust. That's great. Huh, I've already been here. Okay. Right, so we're going to tackle this from the outside then, but that is going to mean carpets out. Car goes up. Very tall, Alvin. Sweet. Yeah, there's a lot of return there. I think that's part of the problem. So this is our problem area. Not too bad, actually. Passenger side of the vehicle is done. Is it my prettiest work? No, but it's much prettier than it needs to be considering it's all being hidden behind a plastic seal cover. It's all ready for paint now. It's been surprisingly well behaved during this process, actually. Cheers, mate. Good old boy. I'm starting to see a pattern emerge here. White 70s cars that decide to give me grief at the MOT. We did the welding. The welding's fine. The other fail, you'll remember, is the emissions, which I fixed for a bit. Went to reverse out of the workshop to go round for MOT and the throttle cable snapped. So I fabricated a throttle cable, double check the emissions have swung high again. Adjust the idle mixture screw, cool, take it round. I asked them to do a preliminary test of the emissions so that we could make sure on their calibrated machine that everything was okay. Immediately failed, 11%. How were you running? That's like me watching footage of myself eating an entire Papa John's pizza to myself. I can't understand how you were putting so much in and still continuing on. Not only 11%, but puking fuel out of the carburetor. That's an issue that has never occurred before in the 18 months I've known this vehicle. Turns out it was a sticky needle and seat. The needle and seat weren't closing. It was overfilling the float bowl and puking fuel out of the overflow. Thankfully, I had some scrap SU carburetors that just so happened to have exactly the right float in them. Thank God. Put that in there, adjusted the emissions, all good. Reversed it out, thought, I'm gonna check. I don't trust you. They swung high again. And by this point, the idle mixture screw is adjusted almost all the way in. I hadn't noticed that. Obviously, I'd have known that something was wrong if I'd spotted the amount of adjustment that wasn't left. So I then bought a mini jet for a 1098 engine, because that's what this guy's got. But these carburetors have a different choke linkage. So I then had to convert this carburetor over to a mini choke linkage because the jets are really tricky to get hold of and 3 times the price. Happy days. Reversed him out, started leaking fuel from the float. Was that you or me? Turns out in my rushing, I'd made a little boo-boo and there was a little bit of damage to the gasket. I made a gasket, all good. Round to MOT. 1 MOT! We're there, finally. Couple of bits to do. The fuel gauge has stopped working. I've got a fuel sender. I did fit a new fuel sender, but obviously it's dodgy, so that's fine. I bought a new old stock, and I do mean new old stock. Fuel sender, that chap that we sourced the rear trailing arm bushes from, Andrew McAdam of Max Factors. I think they're based up in like Lowestoft, Norwich kind of area. Sorted us out with a brand new seal and a brand new retaining ring for that. So we got to just fit the fuel sender. Now the big news. Spoke to the owners. They're very, very happy. They're a little apprehensive about driving a car that's been off the road this amount of time, all the way back to Nailsea. Nailsea is an hour and 45 minutes from here, mostly motorway. They got quoted something ridiculous to trailer it back. So I said, well, if you cover my fuel and fuel for a friend to follow me down and bring me home, why don't I bring Alvin back home to you? So I get to take him on his maiden voyage. I can't think of a nicer way to button this project up than to go for a really good drive and take him home. Okay. Time to get this guy ready for a 2-hour drive. Right, call me old-fashioned, but I thought the old boy can't go back and meet his owners looking the way he looks. He's got that field look, which I kind of love, but let's face it, you've waited for your car to come back from a guy that you only met once briefly when he came round to get the car. You're going to be a little apprehensive. The least we could do is give Alvin a spit shine. So I gave him a mechanic's idea of a good detailing, which is basically a light polish. The paint came up surprisingly well. I was very pleased. It was never going to be perfect, but that's not what this car is. Just wanted it to have a little bit of spank to it for when it showed up on their driveway. I think it came out pretty well, actually. Right, so I've got our fuel sender earthed out to the body, connected at the connector, and I've got it set to full height, which means it would have a full tank. Let's see. Ooh, look at that, strong. Brilliant. We are good to go. They always take a little while to get to that last little bit. Oh, maybe not. Yeah! All right, I've adjusted the parameters on the actual sender, so it's just a simple case of being really angry while I install it now. All right, it's the day. Here goes nothing. I couldn't help but feel as this little car rumbled into life that I had made something of a miscalculation. The car had never run that rough before when I first started it up. Just driving it out of the yard, something didn't feel quite right. I was determined to press on, and then I started getting a stuttering bog just coming up to the main road. So I had to ditch and take a look. With a couple of adjustments made, everything seemed fine. So here we go, off down the A420. Stop number one was to get some fuel, and this was my first time taking Alvin up to 50 mile an hour, and wow, does he take a long time to get to 50 mile an hour. But I will say, I could drive this car all day long. 50 is beautiful in this thing. For such a small car, it floats like a big saloon. And I got ready to settle into the road trip, which I just shouldn't have done, Kyle. You should not have done that. That was that was a terrible idea. What'd you do that for?
One of those for years. Amazing.
We've had a couple of little hiccups along the way, but touch wood.
Brings back some memories.
Oh, nice one.
With the family road trip.
I always thought they were really underrated cars, personally.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was driving with my legs sticking to the back seat.
Yeah, the vinyl is a little bit that way for sure. Oh, once you eventually get it to 50 mile an hour, it's quite smooth. It takes about 6 weeks to get there, but yeah. 11. 1.1 with the 4-speed.
Oh, we're taking a little while.
Just a bit. Oh, right. Thank you very much. Have a good day. Little guy's already turning heads. I was pretty chuffed with that, to be honest. It was nice. You never know when you're driving something strange like this who's going to spot it and get a wave of nostalgia and want to come and have a chat. Happy trails to whoever that was. I hope you had a nice safe journey. And not a few minutes down the road from there, Alvin started developing some problems. The Speedo thing I could persevere with. We're aiming to get this home, and there's a local garage near the customers who can take care of little bits and bobs. They just didn't want to do the bulk of this work. So we pressed on, and then I just had a feeling. So I pulled in, and I thought I'd just have another look round. Okay, little update for you. He drives really well, although he seems to be struggling to idle and the Speedo stopped working. So I'm just going to have a quick look. As far as driving, it's quite capable. Couple of tweaks made again, and everything was fine. So we barreled down the A420, and then came the A419, and this was Alvin's sticking point. You could pinpoint the exact moment that this car got scared. An Arctic, which I've removed from the video, came barreling past.
Alvin, no.
And he just quit. Right there. Nowhere to go, as you can see. I was genuinely, truly worried at this point. The speed that some of those trucks were coming past. Yeah. I managed to limp him close to the edge of a lay-by.
Right, relax. We have a fuel starvation issue.
So I had to roll him on the starter motor in first gear. If you're ever stuck and just need to crawl a couple of feet, put the thing in first, let the clutch out, crank the starter motor. Just get yourself safe. We limped him down, and finally he broke down properly under this bridge in Swindon. Okay, things are not going well. We just nearly got killed, didn't we, on the A419? Thanks for that, Alvin. It seems to be that the needle and seat weren't sealing for some reason, so I've fixed that, and now it's fine again. Rob is very kindly helping me out. Just going to let Alvin idle. It was inevitable. It was bound to happen. Just going to let him idle a minute. It seems fine now, as far as idling, but he keeps losing fuel for some reason. But this has all been fine. Yeah, just gonna have to suck it and see, but we may have to abort because I'm not putting my friend in danger and I'm not destroying this car, getting it wiped out on a motorway. When you've got that going on 5 feet from your face, you know what I mean? So at this point, I just decided let's get him somewhere safe where me and Rob could get a drink. So we limped him to a nearby Cost Cutters, and then we discovered some more gremlins. Sadly, it wasn't to be. We're in Swindon, which is great. A few issues. It's the first time filling the fuel tank, and it leaks. But it's the tank, it's not the sender, and it's not the filler neck. So I don't know what that's about. And we've been cutting out quite aggressively, and I don't really know what that's about either. The float might have been sticky, maybe, but yeah, basically safety comes first. I've got not only myself to think about, but the car and my friend, and we're all going to get where we're going safely. Alvin isn't ready, and that's okay. He did well. When Alvin gets to 50 miles an hour, he drives brilliantly. Just a couple of bits to figure out, and the Speedo has stopped working strangely. Yeah, it's disappointing, but the owners are the same. They're quite happy for me to take him home, back to my place, and figure out what's going on here. Pointless after all this work for them to get a car back that they can't drive. So, let's get you home, bud. I'll see you back at HQ and we'll wrap up. Would you believe this little sod did not miss a beat all the way home? Didn't miss a beat. No coughing, spluttering, idled perfectly, pulled like, well, fairly gutless 8 Series. But just drove great all the way back. And the Speedo started working. So, I don't think he wanted to leave. Tough, buddy. Tough. You need to go home. Time to start digging into these random little issues then. That's been hosed down with brake cleaner. I think I see it. Pinholes. Before you say it, the owners aren't in the market for a tank and we can't get hold of one, so we're going to have to fix this one. Now that is much happier. It hasn't fully cured yet, but once that's all done, I will underseal this. It's not leaking through this is chemical metal, by the way, it's fuel resistant. Chemical metal for sealing fuel tanks. Oh God, I hope that fixes it. That has the potential to be a permanent repair, but it is intended as a temporary repair just until we can find a fuel tank. They're very, very, very hard to find. So, fingers crossed that'll do the trick. Right, time to turn our attention to the Speedo. Oh, my name's Kyle, and I framed the shot, and then I did the exposure way too high like I always do, and the best part is I forgot to turn my mics on, so now I'm going to stand here and gesticulate wildly and say a load of stuff that I'm sure is really super important, but, you know, never mind. Jesus wept. We're looking at the Speedo, that's all you need to know. I had some trouble with the fuel tank, I redid it, and everything's fine now. Honestly, I am one of the hardest people to work with that I've ever come across. It drives me nuts. The incompetence of that man. Look at him. Look at his stupid face. Look at him. He's so chuffed with himself. He thinks you can hear him right now. Do you realise that? He genuinely thinks that you can hear what he's saying. And I'm sure he thinks whatever he's saying is very witty. That's what the hand movements are about. And he's got a bit of a smirk on. Yeah. Waste of space. We should now be able to whizzaroony that and get a look at our Speedo. I'd like for you to keep an eye on this fella. What did you see? Okay, that's really good news actually, because it means our Speedo is okay. So, one or two things. Either our Speedo cable end is a little bit worn out, or the drive at that end is a little bit worn out. There's a little insert that goes in there. The important thing is, they're not going to be looking at finding gauges. That's the complicated, expensive part. Pretty sure that's just a mini Speedo cable. Pretty sure all the guff down there is just mini stuff. So it will be cheap, it will be readily available, and I'm going to have a sat nav on, so I'll be able to tell how fast I'm going, even if it does play up. But like I say, on the way home, it did start working again. So let's just wish it well. And now we ain't got to charge the customer a few hours to pull the gauge apart or any other stuff, which is good because that fits in with their budget. It always surprises me with projects like this. You go through so much So many big jobs, points where you're like, I don't know, I don't think he will. And then the end of the process, it's almost like that whole not with a bang but a whimper. We're just looking at Speedo cables. Do you know what I mean? It's very strange. Classic cars are a weird thing. And the first thing I would like to see is a little bit less of a rough startup than we had the last time. I understand that you got panicky on the 419, mate, but we're not going that way this time, all right? So let's be friends. Be good, Alvin. Okay. Contact. A little bit of choke. I am going to miss this car so much. All right, let's go. On our way out of the yard, pretty much instantly, I started to get little flashbacks. This is where he broke down last time. This is where he broke down last time. And I wondered what we were going to see along the way, if we were going to see anything at all. What little adventure we might have on the way back home to Nailsea. My first and last adventure with this car. Alright, we made it to Whitney, so far so good. 15 minutes down out of 2 hours and 39 minutes. The idle's a little slow, I'm not going to touch it. The last thing I want to do right now is dick around with that carburetor. Touch wood, right now it seems to be working well. So keep you posted. And I'm not going to lie, we had a few little problems, all related to the needle and seat and the carburetor. I can't blame him. This is the first time this car's been on the road in years. But he persevered, and so did I. Once the frustration of the little breakdowns got out of the way, it was just us and the open road.
We're going to meet Alvin.
And I was just flooded with memories from the past 2 years. First guy in the unit. Oh, second project I ever took on when I started the company. And a character. This little car that nobody wanted to fix. For no reason. I just love this car. And it was always going to end this way. Don't worry. You're going to be alright. If I've done my job right, it was always going to end this way. But as much as Alvin didn't want to go home on the last trip, I didn't want Alvin to go home on this trip. Alright, you couldn't make it up, could you? We are 10 minutes from Nailsea, and he's decided to start leaking at the carb. He's been perfect all the way down here. It's been an absolute pleasure to drive, other than that little hiccup at the start. We'll take a gander at what's going on here, but from me and Alvin, I would say that's probably going to be goodbye. I'll leave you with some lovely footage from Logan, who's been filming all the way down here, bless him. Alvin, ladies and gentlemen, it's been a pleasure.
He didn't want me, I didn't expect it to be so vicious.